Prayer means everything to me. It's what gets me through from day to day. It's a place that I find strength, a place that I find motivation and purpose to live day to day. It's the place where I find my purpose and am reminded of why I'm here. And it's the place where I find guidance in day-to-day life, guidance in things going on at home, guidance in things going on at work, step by step, I guess just again, guidance in how I live my life. I remember a specific patient experience that I had during my 4th year of medical school. I was on my sub-I rotation over at the VA, and I was helping take care of an elderly patient who was very, very sick. He had multiple problems going on with his heart and with his lungs. And I remember admitting this patient in the emergency room and immediately developing a strong connection with him and with the family. During the visit, I heard the family mentioning in the background things about prayer and just praying for everything to be okay. And so I finished up my shift and stopped by the emergency room on my way home and just asked the patient and the family if I could pray with them. It was a very powerful experience, and getting to connect with the patient and just asking for wisdom, for guidance, for healing. And it was interesting to see how that played out over the course of this patient's admission. I took care of him for I think it was like 10 or 11 days, and he continued to be very, very sick. And so I was praying. It started to become heavier and heavier on my heart. Started praying for healing, praying for wisdom and guidance as one of his physicians to be able to help make him better and get him home. It was a very tough situation for me as a student because his illness was so severe that there were very limited things that we could do to help him, and he actually ended up passing away. I remember coming in the morning after he had passed and finding out that he was gone, and it just hit me really hard, and I was confused and frustrated and just wondering why all those prayers that were so heavy on my heart had gone unanswered. We couldn't really find anything to make this patient better, and he had ended up passing away. I remember the family just coming up to me after and saying, just thanking me for the time that I had taken to pray with them. They expressed how much it had meant to them to have those prayers. They had said, they told me that their mom, the patient's wife, had passed away several years before that, and there was one physician in particular that had spent time praying with her, and in their words they said that physician was Jesus to them, and it made the wife's passing so peaceful. That hit me really hard because I was feeling frustrated that we hadn't been able to heal this patient, but in the process I realized that God was answering prayers, and that everything had happened in a very peaceful way. And thinking about the way that my prayer life has changed from being a medical student to a resident, and there's one thing right away that comes to mind, and that is just the level of dependence I have on my prayer life. As a student, sometimes it's easy to not feel as much responsibility. I find myself having to rely on my prayer life more. One for guidance in how I'm treating my patients, and also for dependency on the strength that I find in prayer to just make it day to day. Through the ins and outs of residency, through the schedule and the the lack of sleep. At the end of the day, knowing that this is where God has called me to be, this is where He's called me to do, it doesn't matter what I'm feeling. It doesn't matter, what I'm experiencing. It doesn't matter, whether I feel insecure or feel inadequate or unworthy or not good enough to do this job. At the end of the day, this is where He's called me to be. I fully believe with all my heart that in order to provide whole person care, we ourselves have to be whole people. And the more that we allow God to heal us, the more we can become who He's called us to be, and the more that we can pour out, His healing to others. The more His presence fills us and heals us, the more easily we're able to do that for others. It's important for the family members. I've had so many experiences praying with a patient that it's almost, you can see how healing it is for the family, knowing that there's a physician who's praying and who's there, seeking the Lord's guidance to take care of their family member. And at the end of the day, we can never count out miracles, as a reason and a cause of people being healed and becoming more whole.